In today's show, Jason Quick of The Athletic joins. We're going to talk about the Blazers' win over the Bulls, Larry, and the latest in the ongoing investigation into Blazers president of basketball operations, Neil Olshey. Unfortunately, there was some weird video stuff that happened, so we don't have the video. But what you're going to hear after the break is the audio, full audio of our conversation, myself and Jason Quick of The Athletic. Welcome to Locked On Blazers. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Trailblazers, your daily Portland Trailblazers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What up, world? It's your past first point guard and Trailblazers reporter, Mike Richmond. You are listening to another episode of Locked On Blazers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, available wherever you get podcasts and now also on YouTube. If you are listening to my voice and you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel yet, do me a favor. Go ahead and do that right now. Don't wait. Don't put it off till tomorrow. Just go to YouTube, search Locked On Blazers, and subscribe to the show. I would truly appreciate it. Today's episode is a very special one. We are joined once again for his weekly spot on this here podcast, none other than Jason Quick, or as he is cheered when he enters my Zoom chat, Quickie. Jason, how you doing, man?
I was better about 10 seconds ago before I heard that. That was
really
weak.
That brought you down.
Weak. Yeah.
Well, I didn't want to.
Not a great start to my morning, Mike. Come on.
Yeah, we're recording this at 9 a.m. and I've already cheered Jason's name kind of half-assedly. So yeah, we're starting off on a good foot. But I want to talk about the investigation, Neil Olshey stuff. We'll do that a little later in the show. But first, I'm thinking the Blazers just had their best win of the year. They beat the Bulls last night, 112-107. Am I overreacting to? Am I a prisoner of the moment, or was that the Blazers' best win of the year, Jason?
Oh, no question. No question. What a night. I thought the arena was alive, and it's because the Blazers gave them a reason to awaken. I think previously the best win of the year was the Phoenix home win, where the defense was just really locked in. But this was a really superior Chicago team, I thought, in the first half. Chicago looked excellent. And although some of the Blazers' success, I think, in the second half was just Chicago missing some open shots, the Blazers did play a part in that. I thought they were very handsy. I thought they got in the passing lanes really well. Larry Nance, primarily the culprit there of getting into the passing lanes. So I thought it was just a really solid, kind of gutty win. This hasn't been an easy season for the Blazers.
Nope.
Things haven't gone smoothly. And when you fall behind by 20 to a team that is clearly better than you, I think it would be easy to become dispirited and give up. But this team didn't. And they kept fighting and they kept plugging away. And that was really, really encouraging. I thought there's a lot of things percolating that are encouraging for this team. And I think Larry Nance Jr. is at the top of that list.
Absolutely. Let's more on him in just a moment. Yeah, I think, down 20 in the first half, and it wasn't like the comeback happened right away. It didn't happen to the 8-minute mark of the third, they started out in the third quarter and they were kind of just hanging around, but they were down 17 until Dame hit a three with 8:15 left. He said in the postgame that when he hit that three that the fans were cheering like they'd cut it to 6, and he kind of looked around like, wait, what the hell? Why are you people cheering us like this? We're not playing well. And I think it's a little bit cliche, but both him and Chauncey credited the fans, and I thought for helping the comeback. There's certainly something to that, but I agree with you. I even said this might be the best crowd of the year. And I think the Blazers were down 15 when I said that to you. So it only got better from there. What do they do with Larry Nance? He's too good not to play. Where are we with Larry at this point?
Well, it's interesting because last week in Houston, before the game, I asked Chauncey about Larry. And I was like, it doesn't seem like you figured out how to use him yet.
Right.
And he agreed and said, I don't know if he's a 4 who plays a little bit of 5 or if he's a 5 who plays a little bit of 4. And he was still trying to kind of discover what is best for this team and what unit he plays with and what role he plays. And that was coming off earlier in the week. He played only 9 minutes at the Clippers. And, keep in mind, this was, aside from Norman Powell, this was the headlining move of the summer for the Blazers, was trading for Larry Nance.
Yeah.
And here he was playing only 9 minutes. And it's not like everyone was clamoring, where's Larry? Because he hadn't been very good to that point. So shortly after that, around Houston, Denver, around there, Larry started playing better. And Chauncey started giving him more time. And where he is really flourishing is when the Blazers play small and he plays center. And it just so happened that, the last 2 Blazers opponents were teams that predominantly play small. And, with Toronto, doesn't even really have a center. And then Chicago, who likes to sometimes play 4 guards.
Are you disrespecting Tony? Did you come on this podcast to disrespect Tony Bradley?
Yes.
Yeah, he's not very good. Larry that's not an intimidating matchup. I agree.
So it was good timing for Larry to kind of blossom because of the teams that they were playing. And, he played all the fourth quarter against the Raptors and was the key element in the turnaround last night against Chicago. The comeback kind of directly coincided with his entering the game with 8:40 left. He immediately got the offensive rebound and fed Dame for that 3-pointer. Then he got a steal, then he got a dunk, and then he was doing a little bit of everything. So I think this is a really, really encouraging development for the Blazers. Most good teams have an identifiable unit, small ball unit. You have to, I think, in today's NBA.
Yep.
And right now, this is one of the Blazers' best weapons, I think, is their small ball lineup with Nance and Nassir Little, being in the front court. They're really active. They're really athletic, and they get after it. So I think this is a really, really positive development. But I think people need to really slow their roll on thinking, start Nance instead of Nurkic.
Yeah.
No, you can't do that. You can't do that. This has got to be a special small ball type option. And I think Chauncey's using it right now. And I think he's, last night Chauncey said, I've decided that he is best suited as our small ball 5. There's not going to be, he's a 4 who plays a little bit of 5. He is, in Chauncey Billups' eyes, now a 5 who will play a little bit of 4 as well.
Yeah, I think that's an important distinction because you're choosing Nance or Nurk because Nance isn't maximized when playing next to Nurk or next to Cody Zeller. You're not getting the best out of what he does. Right. And he talks a little about that last night. He also spoke with you, intrepid reporter for The Athletic, kind of about, he was getting a little, I don't know, nervous, but like he was feeling the pinch of like not kind of fitting in. Is that fair to say? Like in that.
Oh, Larry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was anxious. I mean, think about it. He knows he knew he was a big acquisition for this team.
Right.
It was trumpeted quite widely. And here he is a month into the season and he's not playing very well and he's not playing a lot.
Right.
9 of his first 11 games, he didn't play more than 20 minutes. That's a little concerning.
Yeah.
And so he was going to the coaches kind of anxiously, what do I need to do more of? What do I need to do less of? How do I get onto the floor more? And they kind of reassure him that, like, hey, just be you. You're a good player. Play your game. Be yourself. But I really think though it took Chauncey to show that trust in him and to say, okay, I'm just going to play the guy.
Yeah.
Because I think Chauncey was a little, I don't know, he wasn't real confident in how he was using Larry, I think. He was playing him a little bit here, playing him a little bit there. And I think finally once he committed to just, I'm going to play him more than 20 minutes a night, that's when Larry started to kind of flourish. And I thought it was cool that Larry said, the best thing about this was we didn't have to have a sit down and a powwow about what my role is and all that. So it's like, no, Chauncey, he got it. He knows I'm a good player, and I didn't have to panic too much because I'm confident in my game. But there was a moment though where, he realized that, dang, this is getting away a little bit. What do I have to do? And they figured it out.
Yeah, I mean, some of it is that I think Cody Zeller was pretty good early in the year, and it's like you want to give him minutes because he's solid, and he's just he's dependable. You could probably pencil in Yusuf Nurkic for half the game, so like then you're figuring out like where the other minutes come from. So I think figuring out the puzzle. I kind of think Zeller's about to get pinched. Like I think he's the dude who's going to get knocked out of the lineup, which isn't because he's not good. It's just because of the numbers crunch. Is that your guess too? How this works?
No, I think it'll be on a game-by-game basis,
sure,
like Chauncey said last night. And I think it's important to note that Chauncey really kind of singled out Cody last night and said, look, this is one of my favorite guys to coach.
Yep.
And he's being a pro. He understands that when we play teams like Toronto and Chicago with small lineups, that he might get pinched out. But, say Saturday, even though Embiid's not going to play, when you run against this schedule that the Blazers have, like Philadelphia, Denver with Jokic, Rudy Gobert's coming up next week, Rashard Holmes in Sacramento. They're going to need Cody Zeller. So he will, but you're probably right. I mean, if anyone's going to get pinched in the rotation, it's going to be Snell and Cody.
Yeah.
And Chauncey doesn't like that he's playing 10 guys right now, but he feels like he has to give everybody a chance to show what they can do. But the trend looks like Snell's probably going to get pinched a little bit, and so will Zeller.
Yeah, that'd be my guess as well. I think Cody is like you said, like Andre Drummond comes to town, you might need size. But I kind of think they've, a lot of teams go small to end games. It's not uncommon unless you have an Embiid or a Jokic or whatever. Like a lot of teams go to, if not like small, like Larry Nance small, just like a big dude who has some perimeter skills. So it wouldn't be uncommon that he would have a good matchup. I want to talk a little about Nassir Little, his growth, what you've liked about him, and we'll do that in the second segment. But first, I want to tell my listeners about Prize Picks. It is the best NBA DFS prop game on the market. It's offering more NBA props than any other DFS prop operator and offers all the superstar players as well as the bench players who are only recording a handful of minutes each night. Look, I've played Prize Picks a little bit. I'm getting involved. I've actually downloaded their app and used the promo code NBA to get a 100% instant match when I signed up. You can do the same. You can go to their app or their website, prizepicks.com, and it's really simple. You just open it up. They got the odds or the over-unders are already created. You pick each one, and it's just you versus the predictions. So you want to pick Cody Zeller's rebounds. It's right on there. They'll set the line. You pick over-under. You get to pick up to 5 players for each entry, and you can bet either to get them all right or to get some of them right, and it changes your payout odds. You get your money quickly. They're safe withdrawals, and it's a lot of fun. It's a fun way to sort of get engaged in the game, and where you don't have to compete against professionals. You don't have to compete against a good field. You just see the line, you make the prediction, and you win the money. So don't hesitate. Go to prizepicks.com, use the promo code NBA, or go to your app store and download the app today. That's Prize Picks. It's daily fantasy made easy. All right. We're still chatting here with Jason Quick of The Athletic, or as he's known in my basement, Quickie. That's right. We're gonna introduce every segment. We're gonna introduce every segment with it, because it went over so well in the first segment. I was almost booed right off the microphone. So whatever. We're coming back to it. We talked about Larry Nance Jr., who got his name chanted in the Moda Center, hence the Quickie. Cheers. He's not the only guy closing games that has played well. The last 2 nights, the Blazers have closed the game with Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, Norman Powell, Nassir Little, and Larry Nance Jr. I think the first 3 guys are pretty much set in stone. Dame and CJ aren't going anywhere in the closing lineup. Norman Powell, it's going to have to be a really specific night where he's not on the court and Anthony Simons is, or something else like that. But Nassir Little is carving out a late game spot in the rotation. Sort of why do you think that's happened, and what do you like that you've seen from Nassir this season or in the last couple of games?
Well, I love his effort.
Yep.
I mean, it just pops out at you. He plays harder than anyone else, and that was kind of his directive from Chauncey Billups. Go out there and be the hardest guy on the court, and it'll help cover up a lot of your mistakes. You look at him last night in Nassir, and 1 for 7, 6 points, 7 rebounds, and you'd say, oh, he had an off night, but he made an impact on the game.
Yeah.
I thought he had a really nice defensive stand against DeMar DeRozan near the end, but then he also had a pretty big blunder that allowed Zach LaVine a wide open three as a chance to win the game. And, Chauncey Billups said, we had the play scouted. We knew exactly what we wanted to do. And Nassir ran straight into a screen.
He said he somehow found a way to get screened. I love that. Yeah.
Right. And so, that's the type of thing that a young player will do, and that you just he needs to have those reps and be in that situation to grow from it. But I think Nassir it's going to be he already is a huge player for this team. And, I think it's become sexy to kind of say that Nassir is the X factor for this team's success. And I think it's spot on. This team will go as far as Nassir develops and plays this year. And so far, I think you have to be encouraged by what he's showing. You can still see the growing pains, particularly on the defensive end. He gets lost a couple times, loses his focus on the corner threes. But boy, I love how hard he's playing, and I love how he rebounds. And I just think he changes the game every time he comes in. And I think you're seeing the confidence that Billups has in him. He's last night, 24 minutes.
Yep.
We're seeing that his minutes per game start to trend upward. And it wouldn't surprise me if he gets up around 25, 26 by the time the season's done.
Yeah. I think Billups and it wouldn't surprise me if he becomes a starter. Same.
I think that's down the road here. That's going to happen pretty soon.
Same. I was just going to say, it seems like Billups is more comfortable when you have a big wing, like a DeMar DeRozan type, of saying, Nas, go get him, than he is with Rocco. Mm-hmm. And I don't think Covington isn't like a matchup guy. He's a help defender, like a really good scheme defender. Yep. If you put him on one of those big wings, like Paul George had 42. It's just not his skill set. It's not what makes him a special defender. And I think
the interesting thing is going to be in that decision is, Chauncey loves the second unit. Mm-hmm. The second unit has changed the complexion of games. And do you tinker with that? Because this is kind of their energy group, with Anthony and Nassir kind of come in, they play with a different pace. They're way more athletic. And he might want to keep that, as part of their identity.
He also might want to stop calling timeouts 5 minutes into games because his team is down 9.
Yes. So it's going to be interesting to see how he handles that. I think it's something that he's really wrestling with right now.
Yeah, I honestly think Rocco has been pretty good the past 2 games. He was struggling,
better.
But I think
he's been better.
Yeah, I think he was good against the Raptors, and I think he was Rocco had made 2 threes and had 3 steals and 2 blocks against the Bulls. That's a good Rocco night.
Yeah.
Even with his limitations as what he's asked to do defensively and what this team might need defensively, that's a good Rocco night. The Blazers have some depth challenges just because there's more guys who need to play. We didn't talk about this in the first segment, but I thought Nurk kicked ass in the fourth quarter.
No question.
He was awesome. And then he didn't play the last 90 seconds because they needed a different defensive look. And I don't think he loved that too much, but who would? But yeah, I think I think the puzzle, as you've pointed out, that the puzzle analogy that Chauncey likes to go to, like, I think it's getting clear, but also is like a little trickier because there's 7-8 guys that really could all be on the court at the end of the game.
Yeah, I think he's the big question is who he's going to play at power forward and center to close games.
Right.
Like you said, that the top three are pretty set in stone. One thing I wanted to note about Covington, I just don't feel like he's moving well. And, last night I noticed that when he came out of the game, they immediately put ice on his right knee. And I don't think that's a great sign.
Nope.
When you're getting iced during the game. So I think that's, he's had knee surgeries and stuff. And I think that's a concern because to me, part of his problem defensively, a lot of it's losing his focus and not being sharp, but some of it too is he's just not moving as well as he usually does. And I think that knee has become troublesome, to the point where they're icing him when he comes out of the game.
Yeah, ice worse than heat. Like heat is keep your body warm is one thing on the bench. Like Nurk always has like a heating pad on his back or whatever. But ice is like a swelling prevention type thing. That's notable. It's not like after the game, guys are just covered in ice because the sport is very hard. But mid game, it's notable. Absolutely. Anyone else that we haven't mentioned? I think that's about it. The decision is who ends the game at 4 and 5. Those are the big ones right now. It would also be nice for CJ McCollum to get going. He had a really good game against the Raptors, but he has been kind of in a funk. And I think Damian Lillard's shooting struggles have overshadowed CJ's struggles a little bit offensively. If he could play better. I also think Dame and CJ are playing too many minutes, but that is something that I will personally take up with Chauncey Billups and ride for player health or whatever it is reporters are supposed to do. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on with the Blazers front office and et cetera, et cetera. But first, let me tell my dear listeners about Built Bar, the best tasting protein bar in the market. You can try to find other better protein bars, but you won't. I've been telling you about Built Bars forever. They've been a sponsor of this podcast for a long time. I've also been someone who enjoys a Built Bar for a long time. My personal favorites are peanut butter brownie and cookies and cream, but I also mess with the coconut. I like the orange flavor as well. And so whatever you're into, you will find that something that matches your palate if you go to built.com. But not only are they delicious and covered in 100% chocolate, they're also packing a punch. 17 to 18 grams of protein, 130 to 180 calories, 4 to 5 grams of sugar, and no more than 5 grams of net carbs. So all tasty, all healthy. Go get yourself some. Go to built.com. Use a promo code LOCKED15. You'll get 15% off your next order. That is promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com. Still a pass first point guard. Still Mike Richmond. You're still listening to Locked On Blazers. We're still chatting here with Jason Quick of The Athletic. No cheers this time because it didn't go over well twice. But Jason, behind the scenes, the Blazers are still investigating into the hostile work environment created or potentially created under Neil Olshey's watch. Can you provide us with an update of sort of what is going on with that as much as you're able to share publicly?
Well, I think today, Thursday, Neil is going to be interviewed by the investigators, and I think his staff is kind of inner circled. All of his assistant general managers will be talked to. You know what? In the last week, in the people I've been talking to and the reporting I've done, I'm starting to trend more that Neil is going to survive this. They talked to 60 people within the first 2 days of the investigation, and then they expanded it. Why would they expand it?
Yeah.
If there was really damning information that came out after interviewing 60 people, wouldn't they just can him right there?
Yes. Or have enough evidence to say, hey, here's what we know.
Right. By expanding it, that tells me they didn't find anything. And really all they have right now is a bunch of people saying the guy's an asshole. Okay. So you're going to fire him for being a meanie?
Yeah. I mean, I could have told you that. They could have just called me. They could have called me. I would have told them.
So There's some stuff going on behind the scenes. I'm not ready to report it yet. I've got to get it a little bit more concrete. But yeah, there's a power struggle going on, and I want to try to get it rock solid, and I want to see. So you're just gonna have to. We're gonna have to hold.
Well, guess what? You come back on the show each week, so when you have it, you'll be back on here. Also, subscribe to The Athletic and read Jason's work. So just logically, without doing a bunch of background reporting, when last Friday, when Chris McGowan suddenly resigned, and Neil didn't, and then Neil was still on the job Monday, and he was still on the job Tuesday, and then it's now we're recording this on Thursday. It just logically, the longer every minute this goes on, it just if it was going to happen, if they were going to fire him with cause, you'd think that it would have already happened. So to hear you say 60 people and now they're, continuing to expand the investigation, that fits the logic that we're still here and that it's not, it felt like it was a matter of time. And now it feels like the longer this goes on, that it's just kind of like a weird, messy detail. I don't know if you can answer this, but can Neil still do his job while this is happening? Can he scout and make calls and try to upgrade the roster? Is this?
Why not?
Yeah. No, I'm just saying. Do you think this is interrupting that, from an outside perspective?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't. One, NBA general managers are a pretty tight fraternity.
Yep.
And they've got business to do. And hey, Neil's on line one. He wants to talk this. They're not going to say, well, I don't know, he's under investigation, I don't want to talk to him.
Yeah,
of course they're going to talk to him.
NBA general managers probably know that Neil Olshey has a fiery temper as well. I'm sure they're not confused about what kind of guy he is or what kind of personality he is. I think I should say.
You know what? I bet you a lot of NBA general managers have a temper. This is a high pressure job.
Yep.
And that doesn't excuse treating people poorly.
Absolutely.
But I think they all have similar character traits to a degree.
Hey, Rich Cho wasn't like this.
No, that's true.
I even think Chad Buchanan wasn't necessarily like this.
You just picked two of the nicest people in the entire world.
Well, there happen to be former Blazers executives, very nice people. They are. I mean, Buck is about as nice. He treated me like I was important when I was legitimately a dude holding a camera for the website side of the Oregonian, and he broke down draft prospects right with me in one-on-one interviews. What? That is pretty rare.
Chad Buchanan is one of my favorite people, period. He is just a wonderful man.
Do you get, Neil's still operating behind the scenes. It seems like a trade is inevitable. Do you still feel like that's to balance this roster? Do you feel like that's something that is on the table still, or what are you leaning now?
I think Neil has typically been one to err on the side of letting things play out a little bit.
Sure.
I don't think he's a very knee-jerk reaction type guy and to make a trade 16 games into the season.
Right. I
think he's more apt to, at least let this team play 25 games, 30 games, 40 games. But yeah, I think it's obvious that a trade needs to happen. One, just to get them under the tax, and two, to make them better. I think they need some forward help, and so yeah, but I think Neil, as everyone knows, Neil believes in this roster.
Yes.
He believes in this starting five. He believes in Nassir and Anthony. And so I think he's going to give it every opportunity for this team to find itself. We're starting to see Larry finally come through.
Right.
last week at this time, we'd be going, yeah, Larry Nance has been a disappointment. Jeez, but you have patience and you let guys find their way. You let the coaching staff understand these guys better and find their way and how to use them. So Neil has never been a knee-jerk reaction guy. I think we're going to, I think January is probably the earliest we would see him pull the trigger on something.
Yeah, that timeline makes sense. Do you think the tax is a motivating factor? Do you think they work hard to shed that money? Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
That sounds like bad. That sounds like bad news if you want this team to be as good as possible. But whatever. That's someone else's cash, not mine. Anything else we should know before I let you get out of here, Jason?
Well, yeah, I just can't. I can't. I think. I think there might be some injury news coming up for the Blazers. Some exploratory stuff. So hopefully I'll be able to report that soon, but haven't been able to confirm that quite yet.
Look at you. This is a primetime and Souk vague tease out here. You're really on it.
Yeah.
All right. I'll let you get out of here. Dear listeners, remember, if you're listening to this in your living room or in your car, put your hands in the air and cheer Quickie. And that way, if you do it 3 times, Jason
God.
Quick will appear, and he'll, write a nice profile about your relationship with your mother. He's one of the best. He's been doing it for better. He's longer and better than anyone else. And if you want to read his work, like all the stuff he's just teased here, subscribe to The Athletic. It's worth it just for Jason's work alone, and you get the bonus of reading the best sports writers, the best collection of sports writers in America covering every sport. Like there's your elevator pitch. Just go subscribe to The Athletic if you haven't already. Do me a favor, tell your friends about this podcast. Tell them to subscribe on the YouTube channel. If you were listening to my voice, if you made it this deep into the episode, you're like a half hour in, you have to subscribe. You owe it to me. You like 30 minutes. If you listen to 30 minutes of me and Quick, you have to subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's legally binding at this point. So go to YouTube, search Locked On Blazers, and subscribe to the channel. It's also available wherever you get podcasts. Just search Locked On Blazers and you'll find us waiting there for you. It's free, 5 days a week. The only Trailblazers podcast, the only daily Trailblazers podcast. It's not the only Blazers podcast. The only daily podcast covering the Trailblazers. So make it part of your daily routine. Make it your first listen every day. Start your day with the Trailblazers so you can know what's going on with your favorite team. All right. Appreciate it.
And next week is an awesome week in Blazer basketball. I mean, you got the Nuggets, Kings, Warriors, Jazz. You want to find out where the Blazers sit in the hierarchy of the West? We're going to find out.
It is coming. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And see if this team can win some games on the road and be a competitive, a serious competitive basketball team. I'm with you.
Yep.
Quick. Thank you for that outro. Thank you for pumping up the listeners. That's why we get you on the show. Jason will be back. He joins the show every week. We have a lot of fun, and I hope you do too. So I appreciate you listening. Talk to you soon.